That's such a nice tune.
Yeah, it's way better than blah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, don't worry. I'll have a new trailer cut for the Kickstarter pre-launch. So get ready for that.
Yep.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And we've got a nice compact show for you tonight. We've both been busy, or at least
Yes,
occupied.
yeah. So yeah, a lot of IRL stuff we've been having to deal with, but yeah. So we got our usual lineup of movie reviews that we do. If you're new and you're not aware of what we critique stuff, usually something new or contemporary with something older or classic. And for our new review this week, we've got The Naked Gun, the new version.
Yes, which is currently streaming on Paramount.
Yes, and it stars Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin Jr., which I remember when they made that casting announcement, I was kind of like, I thought it was dumb, but then I thought about it and I'm like, that could actually work.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks of Liam Neeson from his the last 20 odd years of his life where he was a comedic actor because uh, no, he was a comedic actor because he had leading man gravitas that he could just whittle away at over time
Yeah,
to get a laugh.
right. Yeah,
Whereas like Liam Neeson is like the quintessential hard nosed action movie star, so it makes sense.
yeah. Um, did you mean did you say Leslie Nielsen or Liam Neeson first?
I said Leslie Nielsen first. I was at
Leslie
least
Nielsen.
meant to
Okay,
say
yeah.
Leslie Nielsen first, and
This
then
is this is
and
going to
then
get confusing.
yes. Well, this will probably be the last time I bring up Leslie Nielsen. Now,
Yeah,
I came into this with a mild bias because I watched an interesting interview on the Rubin Report with the surviving of the Zucker brothers, the people behind Airplane, Police Squad, and of course the Naked Gun.
yeah.
And apparently, he was not consulted on this movie at all, really. Like, or they just wanted him
Mhm.
to give, like, as memory serves, because it's been many months since I watched that interview. Uh, he was kind of asked to just give a generic blessing to it, but he wasn't allowed to have any input on it. So he said no.
Uh, uh, yeah, that's kind of like what Disney did to George Lucas.
Yep, very
Yeah,
similar actually.
yeah. Uh,
Now, so I was kind of resistant to watch it, but then a coworker of mine who doesn't really watch movies was talking about how funny he thought this was. So that got my attention.
uh, yeah, yeah, and I'd heard some decent reviews for it, so I thought, well, we might as well give it a watch. And yeah, so the movie starts off very much in the vein of a Naked Gun movie with the similar humor, where you've got a bank robbery and the guy breaks into the one of the bad guys breaks into a safety deposit box and steals a piece of electronic equipment called the PLOT device.
Yes.
uh, and of course, then the robbery gets foiled by Frank Drebin, who's disguised as a little schoolgirl.
And then, yeah, takes off the mask and just grows to Liam Neeson sized.
Yeah. Which I remember that scene from the trailer. But yeah, they had the whole slapstick stuff where they're the way they're getting shot and everything, and the way Liam Neeson's doing the fight scenes. Not quite like the Taken movies, but
Right. It's the Taken movies were a bit more grounded than this, but it's definitely I don't know. I could see a Keanu Reeves movie being silly on purpose.
yeah, oh yeah. Actually, Keanu would have been pretty good in this movie too. And then I think about it.
Yeah,
Um,
he good fallback option.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, then we find out that, of course, Frank Drebin is the prototypical loose cannon cop, and you know he's always playing by his own rules and everything, and then but then he gets pulled off the bank robbery case, and then has to investigate a traffic collision with a with a smart car crash, and they at first Drebin thinks it's a self ending, but the victim's sister, who is played by Pam Anderson, which is an interesting bit of casting. God, I haven't seen her in ages.
No, she definitely. I think she's pushing 60 or over it at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, let's find out.
Well, they needed to cast a love interest for Liam Neeson where the age difference wasn't going to be like really awful.
Okay, 58 years. Okay,
58. Okay. Yeah, and Neeson's
mind
like
you,
in his
mind you, like she looks good, like amazing for 58. So
yeah, she does. Yeah, yeah. And I think Neeson's like in his early 70s, so so there's not.
yeah,
Actually, I think they started dating in real life. Now that
I heard about that, which good for Liam.
Yeah.
He's kind of not been dealing with his wife's passing for many years now.
Yes, he has. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you ever, yeah, okay, 73. Yeah, if you ever wondered why he was in so many straight to DVD quality movies, to keep busy.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it didn't help that the circumstances of his wife's death were like preventable. Like the like what happened to her, it was a skiing accident, and she hit her head. And I remember hearing at the time that if I think she was like in Canada somewhere, and I remember hearing at the time that if that had happened in like Aspen or Vail, like they would have immediately airlifted her out, and she would have been okay.
Right. So it's like the type of perfect storm situation where you can blame yourself. So it's just
Yeah. But then as the story progresses in Naked Gun,
right back on topic.
to get back on topic, we meet the movie's villain, Richard Kane, who is played by Danny Houston, who is the son of John Huston. John Huston was a legendary Hollywood actor. He was the villain in Chinatown.
Oh my! Well, what a monster!
Yeah. The character that character
No,
was.
no.
Yeah.
Everybody does everything that their characters do. That's the rules. So.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so he's kind of like a Elon Musk type guy. He's got all these like his own line of electric cars, and then he's building solar farms and everything. But his grand scheme is actually a lot like Samuel L. Jackson's character in Kingsman. Kind of a similar thing where the PLOT device it basically makes people really aggressive and start fighting each other. Then he has the whole scheme where like he and all of his rich friends will hide out in this bunker as the world ends, listening to performances by Weird Al.
Who he wrote the original Die Hard theme, so it isn't too weird of a cameo.
Yeah. And but yeah, then the rest of the movie is basically just it kind of plays out like the first Naked Gun, where kind of a similar
Drebin's on the case, then he's off the case because he's a loose cannon, but he's still kind of on the case, and there's romantic tension with the woman tied to the case.
Yeah. And he's got his partner who is played by Paul Walter Hauser, who I remember from Richard Jewell. He played Richard Jewell in Richard Jewell. It was just an Eastwood movie. He's been in a few other stuff too, a few other things too. But I will say, in keeping with Naked Gun tradition, like all of the actors in this movie, for the most part, I think, are all, they're not comedic actors. They're all like serious drama actors.
Well, Pamela Anderson, unintentional comedic actors.
Yeah, a little gray area with her, but like for the most part, like everybody else is a serious actor. And like, I mean, they even had like CCH Pounder in there who plays his boss, and she was in like she voiced Amanda Waller on Justice League, the animated series.
Okay, I thought her voice sounded familiar.
Yeah, and she's been in like a lot of. She's been around for a very long time. I think she was on The Shield, although I never watched The Shield. But like I said, yeah, they're all like comedic, or they're all dramatic actors, and you know they play their roles straight, just like in the original Naked Gun. So I think that's what makes it work with the humor, because it's just like, it's so, you know, you have this off the wall humor, but you've got people who are just like laser focused.
Right, they're not winking at the camera or anything like that.
Yeah, not that millennial humor, you know. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see here. Now, the director of this one was Akiva Schaffer, who other things he's worked on. He was one of the writers on. Oh, is he half of Lonely Island?
Probably.
Okay, yeah. He's half the Lonely Island. Cool. That explains a lot of the comedic sensibilities of this.
Yeah. Oh, he directed Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the live action version of that. Ugh.
Yeah, he did not. He did not seem to hate this franchise like he did Chip and Dale's.
Yeah.
But like, I'll say that the comedy has a pretty good hit rate. It's mostly dumb visual humor, like that you just don't expect. Like for example, they have the car crash early on, and they have the crane there to pick it up, and the crane at the end of it has one of those claw machines, like for the plushie machines.
Yeah, and then of course it drops the car, and they're like, ah.
Yeah. It's like there's not a lot to like necessarily analyze. It's just a series of, you know, it's like there's a couple of clunkers in there. There's some great moments. Wasn't necessarily like guffawing helplessly, but I don't usually laugh if I'm by myself watching something.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I will say, like, the one knock I have on the movie is they have the whole the sequence where Drebin and Pam Anderson, they go up to the lodge, you know, like a ski lodge, and then they have this whole thing where they build a snowman, and then they find this, you know, witchcraft book, and they bring the snowman back to life, and it turns into this weird sequence of like, you know, like this polyamory kind of thing, and then, you know, stuff like
and the snowman turns on them.
Yeah, and of course this movie was produced by Seth MacFarlane, and that is a very Seth MacFarlane thing.
Right. Now, in that case, I think that particular joke worked well enough for me, just because I did keep going, wait, what the hell? Wait, what the hell? Like that's a lot of the humor in this movie is kind of like, wait, what the hell? Which is very in keeping with the original Naked Gun.
That's true.
Like you have an idea of how things are supposed to go, and then it doesn't.
Yeah. I just thought it kind of I thought it felt a little like too much of an aside.
Right. It went on a little bit long for what it was. It's very much like that. It's very much the type of humor that Family Guy ran into the ground in its middle seasons. Like, and now Mr. Conway Twitty in multiple episodes, and they would just cut to an old clip of Conway Twitty singing, "He stopped loving her today."
Yeah. Or the guy's like, "Oh, play me after 8." Yeah.
Right. It's very much like this joke is here for me, and if you enjoy it, that is a simple side bonus.
Yeah. But
There were also
yeah.
a couple of times where I thought they kind of violated the whole like characters aren't allowed to react to anything stupid that someone does rule.
Oh yeah, yeah. There were a couple of moments in there. Yeah.
Like one of the like there was a joke where you know what, I won't spoil it because that's like while it wasn't necessarily in keeping with the Naked Gun / airplane ethos, it was still a good joke. So I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
And I think overall, if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, I don't see a reason not to watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. The
Like,
other, yeah,
I mean, I don't know that we would have necessarily loved it if we'd spent $20 to go to the theater to watch it, but
yeah, yeah. I don't know if it would have been worth it to do that, but yeah. The other joke that I liked that was it's actually in the trailer, or at least the first trailer, where they're all like, they're like, there's a scene where he's like Frank Drebin's talking to his to a picture of Frank Drebin's senior, Leslie Nielsen. He's like, "Oh, hi, Dad. Can you, And then his partner is, of course, his partner is the son of George Kennedy's character in the previous movies.
yeah.
And then you see all the other cops talking to the portraits of their dead dads, and then they get to O.J. Simpson, and the guy's like, "Oh, hey, Dad," and then he looks at the camera like, "Nah."
The other thing I'll say is that there were a few comedy clips that I saw shared around on X that just seemed like very cringe and unfunny and like, what the hell is this? This is a Naked Gun.
Yeah,
But in their context, they actually worked pretty well.
yeah.
So, which just goes to show that a clip taken out of context in a story that's, building momentum can definitely feel different. It's like there's some jokes and scenes that you need some build up for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would agree there.
Like there was a theory I heard once about comedy where it's like your batting average, right? Where it's like as the movie goes, every time you attempt a joke, it's like a pitch. And every time you hit, you've improved your batting average, and people are more likely to be open to your next joke.
Yeah.
Whereas if you swing and miss, it's like you've wasted their time, and now it's now it's just a question of, okay, are you going to get your average back up? And I'd say this has a pretty decent batting average.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it's certainly probably one of the best comedies that I've seen, like new comedies that I've seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and that's kind of distressing itself, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
well, like I said at the start, it's on Paramount Plus to stream for if you have a membership.
Yep.
Which if you have Walmart Plus, a Paramount subscription is one of your options for your free streaming service. So there's a quick hack into it.
Yeah. Nice.
However, something that's a bit more distressing than the style of humor in this movie.
Yes.
I have this sneaking suspicion that the people who made Taxi Driver might have seen the Joker.
Yeah. Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
It's so similar. I mean, you have an angry young man, a 1970s big city backdrop, a tale of isolation and neglect, and increasing madness.
Yeah.
I mean, what else could it be, really?
Yeah. And he even changes his appearance too at the end of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, this Martin Scorsese guy better watch out for a lawsuit from Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. Yeah. So we watched Taxi Driver, the classic, nihilistic drama about with Robert De Niro playing Travis Bickle, a Vietnam veteran who takes a job driving a cab in New York in the mid 1970s. Which, if you know anything about New York in the mid 1970s, and we've talked about it in previous movies like Death Wish, that city was a total hellhole back then, and
It seems to be fast forwarding to that way again in the present.
yeah,
But
yeah. 50 years later, it's right back to where it was before.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh well, glad it's not my city. I have my own problems.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, and so as of course, he's driving around, he sees all of the degenerate filth and scum and everything, and
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. By the way, we are going to go into some spoilers for this movie because this is one like that actually has some. It has some actual real world implications, but it also has some interesting imagery that made me question some of the interpretations.
yes, yeah, and I think it's fair to say this movie is almost completely from his point of view. Nearly all of it's from his point of view.
Yeah, there's like a couple of scenes in the campaign office with what's her name and the guy she plays around with.
Yeah, Sybil Shepherd and
That's it.
Albert Brooks. That was actually kind of interesting seeing Albert Brooks in this movie, because he's another guy who's more known for doing comedies. For those of you that probably don't know this, he's voiced quite a few characters on The Simpsons. He's usually credited as like A. Brooks or somebody else. He was the voice of Hank Scorpio, and he was also the Russ Cargill, the villain in the movie.
Who really should have just been Frank Scorpio. And really, for this new movie they're coming out with, it better be Hank Scorpio this time. You have a chance to make things right.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, and then of course, also rounding out the cast, like you got Peter Boyle, who plays like a veteran taxi driver named nicknames Wizard, and then you had a preteen Jodie Foster, and then and Harvey Keitel plays her pimp, and I think between this movie, going back to Sybil Shepherd, between this movie and another movie she did a few years before this, The Last Picture Show, it's pretty easy to see why a whole generation of men fell in love with her.
Yeah, and for that matter, it's easy to see why Bickle did too.
Mm.
So what this really just struck me as very ahead of its time in its own way. It's like the male loneliness epidemic before it was an epidemic.
Yeah.
Because you even have like a very similar trajectory where you just have this guy who's isolated. De Niro is. I know I'm going to be like super brave here and say that De Niro was amazing in this, and that's an opinion that nobody has ever expressed before about this movie.
Yeah.
But was he a thing before this movie, or was this kind of what put him on the map?
I think this movie basically put him on the map. I mean, he was in Godfather Part 2.
Right.
Yeah, he played the young Vito Corleone, and he won an Oscar for it. But even then, a lot of people still really didn't know who he was. But yeah, I dare say this was the movie that where he started getting really noticed.
Because he does such a good job of playing this isolated weirdo, and there are so many scenes of him just failing to interact with people properly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. To go back to Sybil Shepherd, I mean, like you know, he does manage to like charm her a bit at first. Like he gets her to go have some coffee with him, and then
And of course, we know he's a psycho because his dessert was a piece of apple pie with one slice of American cheese on top of it. And he says, "I think I made a good choice."
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then for their second date, I mean, he takes her to a porno.
Yeah, and that's when she calls it off.
Yeah. And I can't say I blame her.
No, and that's the other thing is he spends a lot of time at that porno theater.
Yeah.
But even outside of interacting with women in unhealthy and bad ways, uh,
Yeah,
even when he's hanging out with his fellow cabbies, like they're having normal conversations, they try to draw him in, and they just really can't.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he can't, he doesn't really know how to, doesn't know how to, what's the word?
Relate.
Relates. Thank you. Yeah, he doesn't know how to relate to him. And yeah, and then there's this
Or
whole,
men, for that matter.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then of course there's a whole there's a scene in there where he's talking to Peter Boyle, and and even that conversation is just kind of like, because Peter Boyle is just kind of, he gives them this whole speech about mortality, and you could kind of tell it's just kind of going like way over De Niro, Travis's head. He's just like, oh, okay, whatever.
the the thing I thought was so interesting was that uh, he kept having conversation after conversation. Like he tried to talk with Sybil Shepherd,
Yeah.
but like so many of the conversations he had were people carrying the entire conversation while he was just kind of quiet and disturbed. It's just,
Yeah.
and like you got the impression that they thought they were getting something out of the conversation, but they really weren't.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course the whole thing with Sybil Shepherd is that she's working for a president, this guy who's running for president, and of course he didn't, Travis gets really obsessed with this guy, and he even rides in his cab in one part of the movie, which is kind of interesting because you don't normally think a presidential candidate would be taking a cab in New York, especially back then.
No, I guess you can just call it a convenience for the plot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he's very surface level. It's just very like, I think you'd be a good president. I don't know much about your policies, but yeah, he's just trying to impress people. Like he just so desperately wants to connect, and he just doesn't know how.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then it kind of all just it all builds up to when he of course he meets Jodie Foster's character, who he finds out is 12 years old and is doing something that no 12-year-old should be doing.
Yes, by hook and by crook, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but what just really resonated with me. So like early on, every time he was at his apartment, I mean, he's always like, this movie is like told like he's writing in his journal the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking of Rorschach from The Watchmen, like especially with some of the early lines, like about the filth being washed away or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. When they will ask, they will call out, "Save us," and I will whisper, "No."
yeah, but it's like early on, whenever he was writing in his journal, he'd be eating from this bag of Doritos.
Mhm.
And then he has a very sort of like, what I'll call a manosphere moment, where he's writing his thing, no more drugs, no more pills to dull my mind, no more food to poison my body. I've grown soft and weak. From now on, I will do these exercises every morning.
Yeah. Yeah. And he develops definitely develops a loathing of women too. Yeah. Which is not necessarily a manosphere thing. It's just, that's actually more, just other parts of that world.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then what was the other thing? Oh, he buys a bunch of guns too.
That scene was amusing just because, like, yeah, this clearly shady guy who was trying to I can get you a car, give me $2,000.
Yeah, how about some drugs?
Yeah, get you some meth.
Yeah, yeah,
As he's selling the man guns.
yeah, yeah.
The other thing is that he is like he wants. I think that he ultimately wants people to like him, and he like wants to see. He wants importance. That's what this whole movie I think is about. Is like it's a guy trying to be important to somebody. Like even
Yeah.
writing home to his parents, he's like, I cannot tell you where I am at the moment because of my important government work. Yeah, I know that Mother's birthday is in June, along with your anniversary and Father's Day. I'm not sure what the specific dates are these days, which, boy, that's a sign of some trouble.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I hope this card suffices for all three. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely teetering. Yeah, much like with Joker. I mean, he's teetering on the edge of having a psychotic break. And he eventually he does have one.
yep.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny about this movie is that it had a we know it reached one person because the movie features Jodie Foster, and it also features him trying to assassinate a presidential candidate. And lo and behold, what was the guy's name again?
John Hinckley.
John Hinckley. Name even kind of sounds vaguely like Bickle. What do you think
Mhm.
about it? Uh,
Yeah.
decided to try, or he shot President Ronald Reagan in an attempt to impress Jodie Foster, which, boy, with what we know about her predilections that came out later, was he barking up the wrong tree?
Yeah.
Mind you, there aren't that many women outside of a Harley Quinn type who would actually be impressed by you trying to take a swipe at the president, but
Yeah.
but still, that was the one you were specifically trying to please.
Yeah. uh, Yeesh. But oof. Yeah.
Yeah. But so his first attempt at mattering is he um, he decides he's going to go assassinate the candidate, and they very quickly realize that this guy who has shaved his head into a mohawk and looks extremely sketchy and violent is probably a problem, so they scare him off.
Yeah. Yeah. And so instead he ends up going and killing Jodie Foster's pimp, and then
And a couple of Johns.
and a couple of Johns. Yeah. Um, of course, in the process of that, he gets shot in the neck.
Yeah, and the crazy part, like just how messed up he is. Like
Yeah.
he gets shot in the neck, tears a rampage through it with his variety of guns that he bought earlier in the movie. Then he
Yeah.
takes his gun, puts it to his chin, click, 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 click.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of ammo. And then,
Then he just flops down on the couch as the police show up.
yeah.
Hand covered in blood, just puts it to his head and mimes.
Which I've seen that many times in many like videos and other stuff. It's kind of an iconic moment from the movie.
And that's when things get kind of interesting. So there's a couple ways you could interpret the movie. One is that it has an extremely uncharacteristic and unearned happy ending, where he's declared a hero because, hey, he saved this little girl and took out these criminals, and he's the type of guy that New York needs more of.
Yeah.
And he gets a nice letter from the girl's dad back in Pennsylvania saying, hey, you were in the hospital when we found you. And while we cannot afford to go out to New York again, she's working hard. And if you ever come down to Pennsylvania, you have a warm welcome waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and he goes back to driving the cab, and then he picks Sybil Shepherd up, and they have a little chat, and then we kind of odd little quick cut, and the movie's over, and and this part of it is kind of ambiguous as to whether or not it's really happening or if it's like like a final like little death fantasy that he's having as he's bleeding out.
Right, like we don't even necessarily know that he survived long enough to get to the room and kill the second John, because or was there a second? There was a second guy, or
There
was
were
just the
three
one?
guys. It was
Okay.
you had the pit. It was Harvey Keitel, and then I think the guy who like was like he like owned the building or whatever.
Yeah.
and then the John that was with Jodie Foster.
Right. Okay, good. I want to make sure I wasn't conflating two characters in my mind.
Yeah. Right.
But like, there's no guarantee that he even made it to the third guy, but that with a gunshot wound to the neck, and a clean one at that,
Yeah.
like dead center.
Yeah.
But then to survive and not only not get in trouble for having multiple illegal weapons that were clearly on his person that he used to commit 3 acts of murder.
Yeah. Or the fact that he would be all over the news, and then the Secret Service would be like, "Hey, that's the guy who tried to take a shot at the
Yes.
presidential candidate."
Or for that matter, the fact that the cab company would want him back.
Yeah.
They also did something very interesting, like with the way that they panned away.
Yeah.
So when they show the shot of him, like the police rushing in, also it's kind of interesting that the police just happened to be that close by when the whole action took like a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could chalk that up to movies being movies, but the camera suddenly cuts to a top-down view of him, and it pans over the set, which basically means like the roof of the apartment building has been taken away.
Yeah.
And I realized that could symbolize his soul leaving his body.
Yeah.
And also, like when he's taking Sybil on his cab for the last time, I noticed that they never showed them clearly in the same shot. Like when they showed him, they always had him like super tight close-ups.
Yeah.
And then when they showed her, it was always through the rearview mirror of his cab.
Yeah. Well, there was one scene where when she gets out of the cab and she's talking to him on the sidewalk.
Right, but I mean during the actual cab ride itself, they don't show them together.
Right. Yeah.
Which I kept thinking, oh, she's not actually there. This is insane. Or he's insane. He has broken away from reality one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that the ending has probably been just like talked about and theorized about for the last almost 50 years.
Right. Because I mean, like, okay, at the end he does have the healed bullet wound in his neck, and they did imply that he was in the hospital in a coma for several weeks, or not imply, they said it outright. So it's like maybe he survived the experience, was deemed a hero because I guess it's like what do you call it, death wish rules, where as long as you do something heroic and people will give you a little bit of leeway. But like then he imagined her. It's like you could have an interesting discussion about, because I watched the ending like twice just to make sure I understand, like I had a handle on everything, and you could slice like, okay, where does real life stop, or does it stop?
Yeah.
I think the super happy ending being totally real is a little bit naive given the rest of the movie, but
Yeah. This is very much in keeping with the movies of this era. They're just very very nihilistic and very real downer kind of movies that were just because you have to keep in mind this is the 1970s. We're just coming out of Vietnam and Watergate and
stagflation.
So and of course this was a time when you had filmmakers like Scorsese who the studios basically just said, all right, make whatever movie you want, just don't spend too much money.
Right. We don't know what the audience wants. TV is eating our lunch.
Yeah.
Every studio has gone bankrupt since they made us stop owning our own theaters, and we had to compete with television, and it beamed into everyone's homes for free.
Yeah.
So please just come up with something that people will pay to go watch.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Would mind, like, while I usually don't advocate for cynicism in movies, like between this one and Chinatown, like this is a productive generation of movies in its own way.
It was, yeah, yeah. That's the thing too. Like all these movies are very well filmed. They're beautifully filmed, and it definitely gives you the feeling of the era, and it's brings that added realism that that the filmmakers were going for when they were making them.
Yeah, so like this is currently streaming on Netflix. I think we both give this a hearty recommendation. I would
Yes.
suggest watching it with somebody because I don't think I would have been as interested in watching it by myself, but just knowing that I'd have Daniel to talk to about it, and now I could talk about it with anybody else who's ever seen the movie who brings it up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You don't. Yeah. You're not lost the entire time. Like, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Neat, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. I think I asked. The problem is we talked about this before the show. I did ask you your question if you thought this was a bit. Okay, I made the joke
Yeah.
early on that
Yeah.
about this and the Joker. So how much of a shameless ripoff is the Joker? As somebody who hasn't seen the Joker yet.
Pretty close. Yeah. Very close. Yeah. God, what was his? Arthur Fleck. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of Travis Bickle and Arthur Fleck. Yeah. The only difference is Travis didn't have an abusive mother, or a condition that makes him just laugh spontaneously.
Yeah, just from my understanding of it, the Joker is more of a pathetic figure than De Niro. Like De Niro or Bickle is he's like a wounded animal that is just like, it's not a question of if he crashes out, it's when he crashes out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, at least in Travis's case, he was at least a Vietnam vet. He served his country.
And he had the same excuse as Rambo does to have some issues.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely see can definitely see the similarities between the two movies, and it's probably it's obviously no coincidence that Robert De Niro was also in Joker. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell, buy some books, and we'll see you all next week. Night, everybody.
Good night.